He couldn't believe it. He used to cry, and he used to come to us and cry. I can't believe what they're trying to do to me, and we understood it because from an outsiders looking in, they don't know all the elements and how it really went down and what it really means.
What if I told you that right before he passed away, Tito Jackson dropped a bombshell confession that's going to flip everything you thought you knew about Michael Jackson upside down? Yeah, in late 2024. Tito Jackson, the silent backbone of the Jackson 5, is fading fast in a sterile New Mexico hospital room. Heart monitor slowing. He fumbles for a secret recorder, voice barely a rasp. Michael. He wasn't the pure soul they sold us. He hated them straight to hell. And I can't carry this anymore. A long, shaky breath. Then silence. Tito dies that night. But those chilling words, they escaped, and what followed was a bombshell that still rattles the industry. We're talking deep betrayals, wild backstage fights, jealousy that ran bone deep, and some straight-up dark industry secrets that still shock people today. This isn't just gossip. This is the raw truth buried for decades. Welcome to Black Legend Files, the channel that digs up the hidden stories behind the icons you love and the ones they couldn't stand. Hit that play button right now, because once you hear these 5 names and the real reasons Michael couldn't forgive them, you won't look at the King of Pop the same way ever again. Let's get into it. 1. Prince. The rival who stole Michael's crown and nearly destroyed him. It's hard to believe that Michael Jackson, the King of Pop, the man the whole world worshipped like a god, once came dangerously close to ending it all because of another man. And that man wasn't some distant enemy. He was another Black R&B legend, seen as a true peer, even a brother in the music game. In his final breaths in 2024, Tito Jackson whispered the first name on that hate list: Prince. The 1980s were electric. Michael Jackson had just unleashed Thriller in 1982, selling millions overnight and claiming the throne as the undisputed King of Pop. But across the map in Minneapolis, another force was rising: Prince. Tito's dying confession cut straight to the bone. Michael didn't just compete with Prince, he despised him. Deep burning hatred fueled by jealousy over Prince's wild, untamed genius. The way he played every instrument like it was an extension of his body. The eccentric flair that felt dangerously free in a way Michael could never allow himself to be. To Michael, Prince wasn't a peer. He was a thief in purple velvet, constantly stealing the spotlight Michael had bled for. The real spark? January 28, 1985. We Are the World recording session in LA. Michael pours his soul into organizing the all-star anthem for famine relief. Everyone shows up: Stevie, Lionel, Ray Charles. Everyone except Prince. He declines with a curt, "No thanks," calling it beneath him. Michael never forgave that snub. Tito later revealed a furious letter Michael wrote to him days after. That purple freak thinks he's better than the world? He's nothing but a black demon hiding behind guitars. But the true explosion came in the summer of 1987, July 22nd, Hollywood. Quincy Jones hosts a private, invite-only gathering at his Bel Air estate, a supposed unity night for the industry's top black talents. Michael arrives guarded, carrying a precious demo of his upcoming single Bad. He's vulnerable in that moment, sharing the raw track with Quincy in a quiet corner, are hoping for validation. Prince shows up unannounced, dripping confidence. The air thickens instantly. Small talk turns sharp. Then, in a heartbeat, Prince overhears the demo blasting from a speaker. Without hesitation, he pockets the cassette when no one's looking. A bold, brazen move. He slips out the back door before anyone can react. Michael realizes too late. Panic floods his face. By the time he storms after him, Prince's car is already gone into the night. Back at Neverland, Michael unravels. Tito gets the call at 3 a.m. Michael's voice trembling, broken. "He took it, Tito. He stole my song." Months later, Prince releases Sign of the Times, a masterpiece laced with echoes of Bad's Edge and urgency. Coincidence? Michael never believed it. The theft crushed him. Insomnia grips him. Pills pile up. In the dead of night on August 10th, 1987, he stares at a bottle of sedatives, whispering to himself that if he couldn't stay on top, maybe there was no point at all. He pulls back from the edge, barely, but the damage is permanent. The feud peaks again at the 1988 Grammys, February 24th, New York. On stage, smiles and trophies. Behind the curtain, a secret challenge. Prince, smirking, dares Michael to a private guitar duel in a locked green room. No cameras, just egos and strings. Prince shreds effortlessly. Michael pushes harder than he should. A string snaps, slicing deep into his hand. Blood pools on the floor. He wraps it in his glove, hides the injury for weeks, but the humiliation sears into his soul. "He tried to break me," Michael confessed to Tito in a letter soon after. That rivalry poisoned everything. During Michael's absolute peak, the era when he should have felt invincible, Prince became the constant shadow, the reminder that someone else could match his brilliance and outshine him with less effort. It fed Michael's growing paranoia, his retreat into isolation. Neverland turned into a fortress. Trust evaporated. The man who once danced under stadium lights began locking himself away, convinced the world, and especially Prince, wanted him gone. Tito's final words hang heavy. Prince didn't just rival Mike, he cracked something inside him that never mended. And that crack? It only widened with every name still to come. The list is just beginning. The next betrayal cuts even deeper. 2. James Brown, the childhood hero who sold Michael's soul for a record deal. And just when you thought the shadows couldn't get any darker, shall we slide into the second name on Tito's deathbed list, James Brown, the godfather of soul himself. This one's a gut punch because on the surface, it looked like pure admiration. Michael idolized Brown, calling him the father of funk in interviews, and even shared the stage with him in a legendary 1983 performance at the Motown 25th Anniversary Special. Fast forward to 2006, and Michael's tears at Brown's funeral seemed genuine, a heartbroken tribute to his mentor. But according to Tito's whispered confession, that respect masked a hatred so profound it poisoned Michael's core. Beneath the hero worship lurked betrayal. Brown allegedly sold out the Jackson family's deepest secrets, like the brutal abuse from their father Joseph, to tabloids in exchange for a juicy record contract extension. Michael felt stabbed in the back, seeing Brown not as a pioneer, but as a snake who traded family pain for fame. The whispers start in the early days, back when the Jackson 5 were just wide-eyed kids exploding onto the scene. It's 1969, and the brothers are grinding through endless rehearsals under Joseph's iron fist. Whippings for missed steps, no childhood spared. Then comes the fateful meeting with James Brown. On March 15, 1970, during a tour stop in Augusta, Georgia, Brown's hometown, the Jackson 5 get invited to perform as openers for The Godfather at a sold-out arena show. Little Michael, just 11 years old, is starstruck. He watches Brown from the wings, absorbing every hip shake and scream. After the set, Brown pulls Michael aside backstage, slapping him on the back. "Kid, you got the fire. Stick with me, and you'll rule the world." It felt like destiny, the passing of the torch. But here's where the rumors turn sinister, the kind of tales passed in hushed tones among industry insiders for decades. Word on the street, pieced together from Tito's journal notes and old roadie gossip, says Brown didn't stop at mentorship. Just weeks later, on April 3, 1970, Brown allegedly ropes the young Jacksons into something far shadier. He invites them, or rather demands they show up, to a private celebration at a sprawling mansion on the outskirts of Atlanta, hosted by shadowy figures tied to the mob. This wasn't your average after-party. Whispers claim it was a favor to underworld bosses who'd bankrolled some of Brown's comebacks. The air thick with cigar smoke and danger, the room filled with suited men, flowing booze. And worse, drugs scattered on tables like candy, women hired for the night circling like vultures. Michael, innocent and eager to please his idol, gets pushed center stage. Brown, grinning wide, tells the kid to show these fellas what you got. A free performance to entertain the crowd. No pay, no choice. Little Mike dances his heart out under those dim lights, sweat pouring, while the party descends into chaos around him. Rumors swirl that he witnessed things no child should. Lines of cocaine being snorted off mirrors, half-naked women dragged into back rooms, gun holsters peeking from jackets. One old crew member, speaking anonymously years later, claimed Michael froze when a fight broke out. A mobster slamming a bottle over another's head, blood mixing with spilled champagne. Brown just laughed it off, are pulling Michael closer. This is the real world, boy. Get used to it. The trauma stuck. Tito confided that Michael woke screaming from nightmares for months after, images of that night fueling a lifelong battle with anxiety, and eventually his infamous pill dependency. James exposed me to hell, Michael allegedly scrawled in a diary entry dated May 10, 1970, words Tito found buried in a box after Michael's death. The betrayal deepened over the years, morphing from exploitation to outright treachery. By the mid-1970s, as the Jackson 5 hit rough patches with Motown, contract disputes, creative clashes, Brown saw an opportunity. Rumors persist that in 1975, desperate to ink a new deal with Polydor Records after his own career dips, Brown leaked dirt to the press. On June 20, 1975, a scandalous article drops in a tabloid rag, detailing Joseph's abusive regime, beatings with belts, locked rehearsals until dawn. The source? Anonymous, but Tito swears Brown was behind it, trading those secrets for label favors. Michael, reading the headlines at age 16, felt exposed, raw. He sold our pain, he vented to Tito in a tearful call that night. The family imploded further, trust shattered. Joseph raged, but the damage was done. Michael's paranoia took root, convinced even heroes could turn Judas for a buck. Yet the hatred simmered quietly until it boiled over in a shocking act of revenge. Fast forward to 1988, Michael's at his peak with bad dominating charts, but old wounds fester. Brown, now in his twilight years, announces a comeback tour. On September 12, 1988, at the Omni Coliseum in Atlanta, eerily close to that fateful 1970 party spot. Brown's set to headline. Whispers from Tito's confession reveal Michael's dark plan. Consumed by rage, he hires a shady crew through back channels to sabotage the show. Rigged pyrotechnics, tampered stage rigging, nothing fatal, but enough to humiliate. As Brown hits the stage, belting, "I got you, I feel good," the platform groans. A support beam, weakened by hired hands, buckles mid-spin. Brown tumbles, narrowly avoiding a 10-foot drop into the orchestra pit. Chaos erupts, screams from the crowd, paramedics rushing in. Brown escapes with bruises and a sprained ankle, but the concert's canceled, his tour derailed. Headlines scream, "Near-death mishap for Godfather." Michael, watching from afar, nay allegedly smirked to Tito over the phone. Now he knows what betrayal feels like. But guilt hit hard. The close call haunted Michael, feeding his isolation. This twisted bond with Brown ties straight into Michael's fractured childhood, the era when innocence was stripped away under spotlights and fists. Being exploited by his idol amplified the abuse from Joseph, planting seeds of distrust that bloomed into adult paranoia. Michael built walls, Neverland as he escaped, but really a cage. Friends became suspects, fame a prison. Tito's final breath carried the weight. James wasn't a godfather, he was the devil who started Mike's fall. The man who inspired the moonwalk also helped bury the boy inside. And the list rolls on, each name peeling back more layers of Michael's hidden hell. Next up, a diva who turned friendship into a knife twist. 3. The Angel's Knife, Whitney Houston. The hits keep coming, and this one slices deepest yet. Whitney Houston, the voice of an angel, the queen of R&B, the woman whose power ballads could shatter glass and heal hearts in the same breath. On paper, she and Michael Jackson were kindred spirits. Both child prodigies turned global icons, both black superstars navigating a white-dominated industry, both haunted by fame's isolation. They crossed paths at charity galas and award shows, sharing stages for good causes, like the United Negro College Fund in the late 80s, and Michael's 30th anniversary concerts in 2001. Photos capture them smiling together, warm embraces at events, mutual respect glowing. Rumors even swirled of a secret romance in the early 90s, in whispers that Michael dreamed of more. But Tito's confession flips the fairy tale into nightmare. Beneath the friendship burned pure hatred. Michael resented Whitney for stealing his shine, especially at the 1986 Grammys, where her debut album swept categories, allegedly through backroom deals that edged out his dominance. He envied her effortless, heavenly voice, the one that soared without effort while his required perfectionism and pain. The real venom? It erupted in 1992 during what Tito described as a clandestine joint tour segment, hushed up to avoid media frenzy, a series of private benefit shows in hidden venues across the East Coast. Michael, riding high off Dangerous but cracking under scrutiny, needed allies. Whitney, newly married to Bobby Brown that July, seemed like the perfect partner in glamour. Behind closed doors, though, cracks formed fast. Tito's notes claim Michael grew dangerously close to Bobby. Late-night hangs turning intimate, whispers of an affair that crossed every line. On the night of October 18, 1992, in a luxury suite at a discreet New York hotel after a low-key performance, Whitney walked in on them. The confrontation exploded, screams echoing down the hall, furniture crashing. Whitney lunged at Michael in fury. He grabbed a fruit knife from a room service tray, waving it wildly in self-defense, or threat, as Bobby tried to pull them apart. Blood wasn't drawn, but the terror was real. Whitney stormed out, vowing revenge. She didn't wait long. Days later, on October 25, 1992, an explosive tabloid story hits the stands. Michael's vitiligo, the skin condition he'd kept tightly guarded since the mid-'80s, splashed across pages with leaked details. Whitney, according to Tito's hushed revelation, fed the info to a sleazy reporter, twisting it to paint Michael as ashamed of his blackness. The timing was brutal. Michael's skin had been lightening noticeably, fueling endless rumors of bleaching. The leak forced his hand. He rushed into emergency cosmetic procedures to even out patches, hiding scars, and accelerating his transformation. Publicly, he addressed it in interviews, but privately, devastation. Tito said Michael sobbed to him over the phone that week. "She knew my secret, and she used it to destroy me." But the darkness ran deeper. Both stars battled addiction. Michael's pills, Whitney's cocaine. And Tito alleged Whitney crossed into unforgivable territory. In early 1993, desperate for a fix during a low point, she reportedly handed over a damning audio tape to a dealer. Michael, slurring and intoxicated during a late-night call, ranting about hating the black skin that trapped him. Bitter words born of pain and paranoia. She traded it for drugs, letting it circulate in underground circles until whispers reached Michael's inner circle. The betrayal confirmed every fear. Even friends would sell him out. This chapter ties straight into Michael's darkest spiral. The early 90s era of child molestation allegations, court battles, and mounting addiction. The 1993 Oprah interview where he finally spoke on vitiligo came amid the storm Whitney helped ignite. Scandals painted him as a monster, isolated, unmedicated, paranoid. Whitney's actions amplified that image, turning a private torment into public spectacle. Tito's voice cracked recounting it. Whitney wasn't just a friend who hurt Mike. She was the one who made the world see him as broken, and he never forgave her for it. The hatred here feels personal, intimate, like a lover's scorn turned lethal. And if this shocks you, wait. The next name on the list? The one Michael called his dark mirror. The revelations only get more twisted from here forth. The dark mirror, R. Kelly, the monster. Michael saw. Staring back at him. What if the person Michael Jackson hated most wasn't a rival stealing his spotlight, but a twisted reflection of his own worst nightmares? R. Kelly, the self-proclaimed king of R&B in the late 90s and early 2000s. The man behind smooth anthems like I Believe I Can Fly and the infamous Trapped in the Closet saga. On the surface, their worlds overlapped in the slick, sensual lane of modern R&B. Producers crossed paths. Beats echoed similar grooves. Michael had long moved beyond pure pop into something more adult and experimental with Dangerous and History, while Kelly built an empire on seductive, boundary-pushing slow jams. Comparisons were inevitable, both black icons who could sing, write, produce, and dance with hypnotic precision. But Tito's deathbed whisper reveals the truth Michael buried deep. He didn't just dislike Kelly. He loathed him with a visceral, almost existential rage. The hatred stemmed from two poisons. First, the artistic theft Michael perceived. Kelly's 2002 mega hit, Ignition remix, with its playful, bouncy choreography and party girl lyrics, felt like a direct rip from Michael's signature dance moves in Bad and Remember the Time. Michael saw it as cheap imitation, a lesser talent profiting off his blueprint without the soul or struggle. But the real venom ran darker. Michael viewed Kelly as the evil twin, a predator whose rumored behavior mirrored the very accusations that were destroying Michael's life. As child molestation charges piled up against Michael in 2003 to 2005, he allegedly told Tito in hushed phone calls that Kelly represented everything the world already believed about him, a famous black man preying on the vulnerable. "He's what they think I am," Michael reportedly confessed, voice shaking. A monster in disguise. The explosion detonated in 2002, smack in the middle of Michael's legal hell. In February 2003, the infamous Bashir documentary airs, showing Michael holding hands with a young cancer patient, Gavin Arvizo. Public outrage erupts. Police raid Neverland. Amid the chaos, Tito claims Kelly made his move. On March 14, 2002, just weeks after a grainy video of Michael allegedly touching a boy surfaces, Kelly allegedly contacts Michael's camp through a mutual producer. He doesn't ask for favors, he demands them. In a late-night meeting at a private suite in a Chicago hotel, Kelly's home turf, he plays a grainy, secret camcorder tape, footage from a 1999 charity children's event Michael hosted at Neverland. The clip, shot from a hidden angle, shows Michael laughing with kids, hugging one boy longer than necessary, the moment lingering uncomfortably on camera. Nothing explicit, but in the context of 2002 headlines, it looked damning. Kelly's ultimatum was ice cold. Sign over production rights to a joint album project Kelly had been pitching for years, or the tape leaks to the press. "You need allies right now, Mike," Kelly supposedly said. "I can make this disappear, or make it worse." Michael, already crumbling under scrutiny, felt cornered. For days he paced Neverland's halls, replaying the footage in his mind. Tito received frantic calls, Michael's voice raw, terrified. "He's got me on tape, Tito. He wants to own me." The pressure mounted. Michael's team scrambled to discredit the video as edited or out of context, but the fear was real. Then came the counterstrike, the moment Michael's hatred turned lethal. Refusing to bend, Michael hired a team of private investigators through trusted channels. By late April 2002, they dug into Kelly's own shadows. On May 9, 2002, explosive leaks hit Chicago tabloids and national outlets. Photos and documents alleging Kelly's illegal 1994 marriage to then 15-year-old Aaliyah, plus fresh whispers of videotapes showing him with underage girls. The timing was surgical, just as Kelly's career peaked with Ignition climbing charts. Federal authorities, already sniffing around Kelly since the late 90s, ramped up pressure. By June 2002, a grand jury in Chicago indicted Kelly on 21 counts of child pornography related to a now infamous sex tape. The dominoes fell fast, arrests, trials stretching years, eventual 2021 conviction, and 30-year sentence. Michael never publicly gloated, but Tito's confession includes a chilling quote from a 2003 conversation. "Kelly is the evil version of me. I wanted to kill him before he killed me." The words hung heavy, not literal murder, but the desperate wish to erase the mirror that reflected Michael's own demons. Every headline about Kelly's downfall felt like a twisted vindication and a warning. If Kelly could fall so publicly, how long before Michael's accusers won? This feud lands squarely in Michael's decline, the post-2000 era of courtrooms, pill bottles, and fading relevance. The 2005 trial acquitted him, but the damage was permanent. Paranoia consumed him. He saw enemies everywhere, especially in men who shared his spotlight and his sins. Kelly became the living embodiment of what Michael feared most, that the world would reduce him to a predator, stripping away the artistry, the magic, the moonwalk. Tito's voice cracked recounting it. Seeing Kelly go down didn't heal Mike. It just proved the darkness was real, and it lived in both of them. The list nears its end, each name carving deeper into Michael's fractured soul. One final legend remains, the blind genius who saw too much. The betrayal that might hurt the worst is coming next. 5. Stevie Wonder, the closest friend who saw through Michael's soul. Come closer now, lean in. We've saved the most intimate wound for last, the one that hurts because it came from someone Michael trusted like family. Stevie Wonder, the living legend, the soul poet who turned blindness into superhuman vision, the man who crafted masterpieces like Superstition and Isn't She Lovely, with eyes that never saw light. Michael and Stevie weren't just collaborators, no, they were brothers in Motown spirit. They traded verses on Just Good Friends from Michael's 1987 Bad Album, a playful duet where their voices danced like old friends arguing over a girl. Stevie even got Michael on his 1987 track, Get It. They linked arms for charity, shared stages, and spoke glowingly of each other in interviews. Stevie stood by Michael during tough times, calling him a genius, a trailblazer. Publicly, it was pure love, but Tito's final trembling words peel back the mask. Michael harbored a hatred so quiet and corrosive it ate at him from the inside. He believed Stevie stole ideas from off the wall, subtle grooves and melodic turns that Stevie twisted into his own hits. And worse, he envied the supernatural gift of composing blind. To Michael, who fought for every note through endless rehearsals and perfectionism, Stevie's effortless brilliance felt like cheating, like a divine unfairness. The real fracture? It cracked wide open during one of music's most sacred nights, January 28, 1985. A&M Studios in Hollywood, the all-night marathon to record We Are the World. Michael co-wrote the anthem with Lionel Richie. Quincy Jones produced. 46 superstars crammed into the room after the American Music Awards. Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Cyndi Lauper, Ray Charles, and Stevie Wonder, front and center. The energy was electric. Laughter, nerves, history in the making. Michael arrived focused, lyrics memorized, ready to lead. Stevie, ever the sage, joked that if they didn't finish in one take, he and Ray Charles would drive everyone home, a light moment that broke the tension. As the hours ticked past midnight, voices layered in harmony. Michael sang his parts flawlessly. Stevie added his signature ad-libs, soulful and soaring. But in the quiet corners, away from mics and cameras, something shifted. Tito's hidden journal entries, the ones he whispered about on his deathbed, describe a private conversation in a side room around 3 a.m. Stevie pulled Michael aside during a break. The studio lights dimmed low, coffee cups scattered. Stevie leaned in close, voice soft but piercing. "You know, Mike, this blindness, it's not always what it seems." Michael's breath caught. Stevie continued, almost casually, revealing a secret he'd supposedly kept for years, that his blindness wasn't total, that he could perceive shapes, on shadows, enough to see inspiration in ways others couldn't. "I pretend sometimes," Stevie allegedly murmured, "to feel the music deeper, to block out the world and let the truth in." It wasn't a confession of fraud. It was a philosophical twist, a way Stevie explained his creative process. But to Michael, already paranoid, already doubting everyone's motives, it landed like a bomb. In that moment, the seed of betrayal took root. Michael saw it as manipulation, Stevie using the myth of total blindness to gain an edge, to see into people's souls while hiding behind dark glasses. And then came the contract talk. During the same session, Stevie, leveraging their friendship, pushed Michael to sign a side agreement for future collaborations, one that gave Stevie co-ownership perks on certain unreleased tracks from Michael's vault. A Michael, exhausted and vulnerable, signed without full review. Days later, regret hit. He felt played, like Stevie had hypnotized him with that whispered revelation, using the secret to lower Michael's guard and lock in favorable terms. The rage built slowly, then erupted. By spring 1985, Michael obsessed over it. On April 12, 1985, alone in his Encino home studio, he allegedly spiked Stevie's drink during a private visit. A mild sedative, sleeping pills crushed into a soda Stevie requested. The plan? To prove the blindness was fake by forcing Stevie to react in a way that exposed vision, perhaps stumbling into something he shouldn't see. Tito's notes claim Michael watched intently as Stevie sipped, waiting for a slip-up. But Stevie drank only a little, set it aside, and left unharmed. No dramatic reveal. Unjust Michael left in the dark, guilt and fury churning. The attempt failed, but the intent terrified him later. What if it had worked? What if he'd blinded a man who already lived in darkness? In a diary entry dated June 3, 1985, one Tito swore he read word for word. Michael scrawled, "Stevie is the monster. He sees everything but pretends to be blind just to watch me, to control me." The words drip with paranoia, the handwriting shaky. From that night forward, trust evaporated. Michael pulled back from joint projects, kept Stevie at arm's length during charity events. Publicly, smiles continued, but privately, the friendship died. This betrayal strikes at Michael's peak philanthropy era, the mid-'80s when We Are the World crowned him humanitarian king, when his fame felt benevolent. Yet even in acts of good, he found deception. Stevie's secret fed Michael's growing isolation. If even the purest friend could manipulate, who was safe? It deepened the paranoia that defined his later years. Walls around Neverland, fewer allies, endless suspicion. Tito's voice broke on the recording. Stevie was supposed to be the one who understood Mike's pain without seeing it. Instead, he used blindness as a weapon. That broke something forever. And there it is, the final name. 5 legends, 5 knives in Michael's back. From Prince's theft to James Brown's exploitation, Whitney's revenge, Kelly's mirror, and now Stevie's quiet deception. Tito carried these truths to his grave, only releasing them when death loomed. The king of pop wasn't just a victim of the world, he was torn apart by those who walked closest to his throne. What does it all mean? Was Michael a paranoid genius destroyed by envy and betrayal? Or did the industry turn heroes into monsters? The secrets are out now. The question is, can you still love the music the same way? And there you have it, the 5 names that Tito Jackson carried to his grave, only to unleash them in his final trembling breaths. These weren't casual dislikes. They were bone-deep hatreds born from jealousy over unmatched talent, savage betrayals that cut through trust like knives, and the ugly shadows of an entertainment industry that chews up legends and spits out monsters. Tito's last warning echoes loudest. There's so much more buried, secrets the industry will kill to keep hidden. He died knowing the full weight, and now we've cracked the vault. Michael Jackson, the king we all worshipped, had enemies in his own circle, and an hatred that ran deeper than any hit record. Tito took these secrets to the edge of death before setting them free. Now the question hangs, truth or tragedy? Thank you for watching Black Legend Files. If this hit hard, smash that like, share with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe. Because we're not stopping here. Part 2 drops soon with even wilder revelations from the shadows of music history. Turn on notifications so you never miss it. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay real, stay questioning. Black Legend Files out.